you're going to do with a hero like Undying, and especially with a carry like Gyrocopter.
Okay, so they do go for it. That's interesting. It's the other way around.
I was actually talking to a guy in LD, and they were saying that because No Tail knows Wisp so well, when he plays Tiny, it's even better because his understanding of Wisp is so great that he's just perfectly aware of what's going on and what's possible. So, and he's a brilliant player in his own right. So I think this is going to be pretty exciting. And it's a classic.
It is classic.
Yeah.
This is one of those pairings that when your back's against the wall, why not, right? It's such a safe staple of any lineup. Any top team can run this duel. But
and OG doubly so because they have two amazing Wisp players.
Yeah, they really do. But Fnatic, I like the way they've started their draft so far. By running the Gyrocopter and the Undying, it means that you can run the dual lanes pretty easily. Like Gyrocopter is a hero that doesn't need really any help in the lane because 1-to-1 he pretty much beats any offlaner. And that's going to give Fnatic a little bit more flexibility in helping out their mid lane and helping out their off lane and trying to collectively win 2 out of the 3 lanes.
Yeah, which is a strong early draft, isn't it, from Fnatic? I mean, we've seen a lot of success from this pair so far.
Yeah, you saw yesterday too. They went for the split push style, but I think they kind of collected themselves and said, okay, against these types of teams, it's a little bit too slow. Like, we can't play that slow of a style. We actually have to bring the fight to them.
So Tusk is gone. 100% record is intact still. Pick ban wise.
Will, what do you feel about the Winter Wyvern versus Wiz Tiny? Because I know I've had kind of conflicting reports. Some players still feel that it's exceptionally strong counter. It would definitely fit into the Fnatic lineup because it would set up a lot of the Gyrocopter on Undying.
I think it's pretty good because it's a hero that can also go mid and help out whatever their mid hero is, which is going to determine a lot for me. For Fnatic, they have to pick something that's defensive, but you want something that can also help go high ground as a mid hero. I know they often like to play a mid that is more of a space eater than a space creator, but against a lineup like Tiny Wisp, it's pretty rough.
So would like a Wyvern Wind Ranger?
Yeah, you
as
could
a
do that.
3/4 pickup.
I don't even know if the Wind Ranger is excellent against it though, because no one really beats that matchup in the mid lane.
True.
It's so rough to play against.
There it is.
OG in response, I think a Dazzle would actually fit because they like when they run the Tiny Wisp to go for those strong lanes. I think Dazzle is one of the heroes that will help counter some of the aggression of Fnatic, especially the Wyvern single target focus of the ult, and then be able to provide a strong lane.
The one thing I do want to point out, though, the issue with that is Ted actually brought it up earlier where he said, I want to see the statistic of teams that just trapped a lot of stuns.
Yeah.
And if you take the Dazzle here, it feels like they are a little bit light in the disabled department.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to know what the statistic is. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it. Most of the stats we get are match-specific, team-specific. But stats guys out there, I want to know how much does your win rate increase with each stun that you add, and up to which point does it level off, and do you start getting diminishing returns on the number of stuns?
I like that.
I always think stuns are super, super important.
I think you've just set Knoxville a nice task.
Yeah, maybe he can go do some work
Yeah.
for a change.
They don't really have... When BKBs come online and things of that nature, they don't really have the best way to just instantly initiate aside from the Tiny if he decides to go for the Blink Dagger route. So I'd imagine you go one of two ways here if you're OG. You decide to go for the split push route, and just completely avoid the Undying at all times and pick something like the offlane Nature's Prophet, for example, for Moon, or you decide to go for the route where you think you can take the fight early on and you want something that can initiate and make up for the lack of disables that you have so far. Because it's generally not going to be your carry that's going to do that job for you. So it's either, for me, you either go for something like the Clockwork or something around that area, or you decide to go for the Nature's Prophet and just play the 3 split up, pressure the map nonstop.
They won't make 32 minutes if they do that, Will. That's one thing I will say. Bristleback.
It's funny, that's one of the heroes that OG usually like to pair with the Dazzle. It buffs up your early team fight to make sure that you aren't just run over around the 20-minute marker. The thing that's concerning for me right now as OG, I feel like Dazzle promotes perhaps a little bit more team fight, but I do believe they should go for the split push. I'm not sure if Clockwork, like I'm looking at the initiators, if there was like a Spirit Breaker or something, I would feel a little bit more confident, but I don't think Clockwork is going to be particularly strong here, just because the Undying and Winter Wyvern factor. I think they're really good at being able to save the single target focus of the Clockwork. He jumps on the Gyrocopter perhaps with a Blade Mail trying to force something, but he's going to be rebuffed by the sustain.
Yeah, he's going to die. He's going to die. I don't know who I'd want to hook on that team, I'll be honest with you.
Alright, so for OG, you still need a carry. If you look at the side of Fnatic, they're definitely just going to run at you. The Bristleback too pretty much promotes that, and it's going to be the Earthshaker.
I think that was, for me, that was the best offlaner outside of the Clockwork that would promote early team fight. 100%, I think that's the best idea for OG. And leave that the hero that pairs with the Dazzle for last pick. I think that's a smarter strategical move, because if you have the Earthshaker banned out, then you're left with the Clockwork as your best initiator. And again, I don't think that would be a good idea.
The other thing is, if they're determined to run at him, a well-placed Fisher will basically say, well, we're not interested. We're just going to back off, reset the fight that way.
Yeah, definitely. When you're playing against heroes like Winter Wyvern, you need something that'll kind of change the ground, make sure that people can't just swarm on you. Because the Winter's Curse alone, you can kind of survive it. It's when everybody's hitting you on top of that. When they're on top of you with the Gyrocopter, with the Bristleback, that's when you're really worried. And I really like the Earthshaker pick. When I meant Clockwork, I just meant a hero like that.
Right.
That type of archetype where you have something that can just go in, doesn't have to wait for the rest of the team, and take advantage of having something that can just instantly initiate. But for Fnatic, they still have to worry about a carry, or they might actually even think with the offlane and the Nature's Prophet. That's what I thought OG would go.
Oh, so maybe they think it. Do you think it's something like they thought, okay, it's a Miracle Earthshaker, they're going to try and actually give Miracle like something that comes online really early? Because I am struggling to find a hero that will be able to provide enough early team fight for Miracle that's left in the pool.
Yeah, definitely. For Fnatic, OG probably thinks it's going to be the offlaner, but it's in fact just going to be the Bane that they're going to pick up.
So what about the AM here?
I actually kind of like it, but the only concern is whether or not you have too many heroes that eat up space. But there's not too much disables for Fnatic. I guess you have the Winter Wyvern and the Bane.
Yeah, you got the Bane now. I don't know if you want to do that.
Miracle's played it, of course, as well. Played it here at Frankfurt.
That was their go-to backs against the wall hero, though, in the past. When they played against Liquid and...
Do you want it in a best of one? I think you do, don't you?
It might be Miracle's most comfortable hero, but...
It's playing a lot of Gyro here as well.
Yeah, Gyro's just so good overall. It just depends on whether or not OG think that they can play that tempo game and survive long enough to make the anti-mage strong. Because if you get to that point, then yeah, sure, the hero's going to be pretty unstoppable.
I don't know why. The only heroes that keep popping in my head is like Sven or Centaur, which is like really out there left fields.
I think the only problem there is like more melee heroes.
Yeah, I just can't think of a decently tanky hero that goes in and fights early on, unless they're still gonna open up that offlane and still go for the Miracle Earthshaker.
I think you have enough heroes though that can frontline for you. I don't think you need something else that is beefy and just tanks in.
Okay.
Because I think Ted's right here. You eventually need to be able to go for the high ground, and you don't want to just solely rely on your tiny. They're running out of time. You've got... I'm trying to think right now. Wind Ranger would be kind of bad. They already have a Winter Wyvern, and Bristle isn't going to take too much damage.
Juggernaut is... Huskar. Alright, that's definitely...
Okay, so the Husk and OG and Fnatic are all set. Let's head down to the commentary team for our second lower bracket game of the day.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Paul. It is myself and Purge once again bringing you the second best of one here in the lower bracket at the Frankfurt Major. And looking at the picks, Purge, I think we're just going to have as much action as in Game 1 that we saw between Alliance and, of course, Cloud9, but even more this time. Because there's a Huskar. Is this the game for a Huskar pick?
It's looking pretty good. I mean, Bristleback can kind of deal with it, but he may be forced to get something like a Blade Mill, which he doesn't really want to do. They do have some heals with Winter Wyvern and Undying, so I guess they have some counterplay there, but a lot of heroes that don't do that much damage to Huskar, namely Winter Wyvern, Gyrocopter, Undying, they can't deal with him very well. They're gonna have to rely on the pure damage from Bane and the physical damage from Bristleback to deal with them.
Absolutely. And one thing I really do win. I mean, if that comes down on the Huskar and there's a Tiny next to him, it's not going to be a lot of fun for Miracle, of course, on that Huskar. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ourselves into OG versus Fnatic, another elimination match here. Loser will go home. And let me talk to you about the drafts here, Kevin. We saw the panel, their predictions, everyone rooting for OG. Do Fnatic have the draft to take down OG in this best of one?
I feel like OG is the better team, and that's mean a lot, but draft-wise, I think they can do it. I mean, some of the other times we've seen Huskar picked, they aggressively tri-laned or they aggressively dueling, and that's something that Fnatic does almost all the time. We saw one of the stats earlier. It said Fnatic only aggressive tri-lanes like 7% of the time, or they don't tri-lane almost ever. So if they just go aggressively with Undyne and they can maybe pressure the Huskar before he hits level 2, level 3, then they can definitely get a lot of kills. But the downside is that if they really want to, they can easily shift the Wisp over and just help the Huskar get a bunch of kills in their early game. Starting off with a really nice D ward here.
So I think, yeah, as you said, it's going to be all about this Huskar.
They got the Observer ward too, and that was blocking the large camp. So
great start for OG.
What a huge sentry. That was insane.
Some smart kids over on the side of OG, and it's all about the Huskar. If that Huskar gets out of control and gets ahead of Fnatic, it's going to be pretty much... We've seen a few Huskar games already this tournament. We've seen it manage to tear down Alliance earlier in the group stages, and we'll see if OG are able to use it to tear down Fnatic. Looking to go for the bounty rune here in Ohio. Needs to be a bit careful. Okay, that's your first blood. Shadow ate the heal bomb too much. Crit. Picking that one, and well, okay, OG are going to be very happy with the way that this game's starting.
That was a great play. Fissure into the Avalanche, made sure he's chain stunned. They got the bounty rune on the Earthshaker, and then from there, the tether slow, something you normally don't see doing much, but it helped out a lot there, and that's a dead hero. A bad start for him, and it's going to get him to the lane a little bit later. Now, I'd also like to point out that Fnatic has seemingly changed their lanes. Well, they're consistent based on what they played in their last game with Mushi playing support and Ohio technically playing off lane. So I guess they stuck with what they did last, and personally, I think this is their best iteration of lineup.
We'll see how well it's able to deal with this Huskar at top, having both the Gyro and the Wyvern there. Of course, there's going to be the backup of Flight and Crit on that Dazzle IO combination, so they do have every potential to go aggressive themselves and just try and look for action against Fnatic. They're going to have Bane coming up as well, so it is going to be the full try-on-try. So it's going to be interesting to see just how much Fnatic can do in terms of slowing down Miracle's progression. And look at the aggression. He just walks in, gets a few spears down. Has to be a bit careful now the Arctic Burn comes through, but the heal from Fly's there. And OG, I think they're going to be fine in this lane.
That's some major value. If you guys don't know how IO works, if he gets healed, some of that heal gets also put on the person he's tethered to. So you get extra value from healing an IO, which is why they paired it with a Dazzle, so that when the heal comes through, the Shadow Wave will naturally bounce to Miracle, and he gets healed extra from the stuff that IO's getting. So this is a stronger Huskar than we normally encounter because it's basically two heroes that are entirely focused on healing somebody else. So he basically just has to get a couple levels in him and he can do some crazy things.
Obviously the fact that Crit is hanging around in this top lane does mean that Tiny's going to be left alone against the Bristleback mid. So far for Notel, it's been alright. It's got 8 for 0 compared to the 7 for 1. But you'd imagine there's going to be a point where surely this Bristleback's going to do pretty well at harassing Tiny backing out of the lane.
Yeah, Tiny has very low base armor, so it's definitely a little scary for him. He's shifting to the top rune to help out Crit picking that up a little faster, and looks like he'll shift back top again. So Notel basically got some HP advantage out of that because in the meantime Wisp was healing up, Wisp known as IO. So he is focusing a little bit on the Wisp here, and for that reason I think DJ is going to get a little out of hand this game.
Top lane Miracle, he's not really been getting the CS at the moment, 4 for 1, so it has been a bit of issue, the aggression that the Gyro's been able to put on. At the moment 7 for 2 on him. And I mean the lane that we haven't really talked about and bottom. You've obviously got this Shaker going up against a high on the Undying, and well, Moon going very aggressive here, just trading hits, both of them fairly low. CS-wise though, Ohio has got the slight edge, and I guess is that something you'd expect really from an Undying against a melee hero strength?
Yeah, definitely. One of the real big downsides of Earthshaker is he's not very good in a one-on-one lane. Now he's gone a skill build to adjust for this. He's getting extra aftershock, so he gets more stun duration and more damage every time he casts a spell. And with Ohio being pretty out of mana, he's in a pretty good spot, but this is definitely more likely that Moon dies here than Ohio dies. So he's got to be very careful.
So far, it certainly seems that he has been able to be careful enough. I mean, albeit apart from the first blood, fairly even across the map. Fnatic still finding the farm favorably on the top for Black compared to Miracle. Mid lane now, Bristleback just a little ahead, but it's still very, very close across these lanes, really.
Man, Miracle's having a lot of trouble last setting up here. But that's very low base damage on Huskar. He doesn't have that much survivability.
He pops the Mango and he's going to get it. Very nicely done there. Mango into the Soul Rip and the Decay. Just enough, but at the same time, mid lane, DJ might find more for the side. They'll be turning around, throwing out the Avalanche, popping a salve. But in fact, the final core spray is there. We'll cancel it. It's all right, Crit's there with the regen. So DJ nearly being able to find that. But the fact that they have got this IO, and as long as Crit's going to be there every time with the TP rotations, they should be able to keep No-Tail alive. Maybe going to try and go for something here. Arctic Burn has been popped by Net, and he gets the slowdown onto both. No-Tail trying to chase down DJ. They'll force him back. Mushi's coming in as well, and Ochi needs to be careful. They look for an avalanche toss onto DJ, brings him low, but now the Nightmare from Mushi, setting something up onto No-Tail, but with the fact that the Bristles had to get out of there, they've kind of lost their main damage source. Now No-Tail's just moving forward with Crit. They'll get the toss onto the Wyvern, and Net's in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down, and they'll get themselves a second kill on the board, OG. Both of them under the belt of the IO so far.
That's a matchup you just can't underestimate. The Tiny IO, it's so strong, and they should have checked the IO and said he's got 3 charges and he's got like a 5 to 9 stick wand there. That means there's a ridiculous amount of heal and mana coming Tiny's way. And with that, all he has to do is kite. He's got the extra movement speed advantage from the tether as well, and eventually you're gonna get killed. So you really can't let that happen.
Oh, higher. I mean, this man, he's got a lot of balls and he's using them to perfection. Another kill against that Shaker. You said already how you'd expect to see him have a hard time, but this isn't great for OG. They may be finding kills, but Shaker, he's dying a bit too many times on the bottom lane.
So Moon can still transition decently because this hero is normally played as a support. So even if he does get really shut down in this lane, it's not the worst thing in the world for OG, but it just means that there's more on the backs of Huskar as well as Tiny. And with Huskar doing, I mean, both of the heroes are doing fine. They're not getting amazing last hits, but they're doing all right. But it's still going to require them to perform really well.
I mean, just at this point as well, we still see Moon return to lane, but it's going to be so hard now. The fact that there's Arcanes now and Undying, he's just going to constantly be able to keep up the spam and zone him out. I get the plus side, as you said, at being a support, and the fact that he's still finding levels. There is now level 6 of Shaker 5.5 minutes in.
Yeah, that's okay. He could also rotate to the top lane or something to try to set up a kill. In their defense, they do have a lane ward, not giving Fnatic the best vision up here in case there is a rotation, but that's something that you can do, for example, if you're really behind. A little bit of a fissure block here by Moon, mostly just to prevent the bot rune. We'll see if No-Tail, yeah, No-Tail will be able to get the rune now. Really nicely done there.
Let's see if they find anything. We can obviously see Fnatic moving through the jungle. It's just checking if any stacks are being created at the moment, which isn't the case on the side of OG. So they won't be able to take anything away from them at least. Phase Boots now picked up on Black, so they can maybe try and go a little bit more aggressive, but Miracle's still keeping up in terms of levels at least. The farm as well, he's actually closed the gap. 21 for 8 compared to 23 for 4, so space has been created. And it's because Fnatic, they're kind of rotating around the map. Bottom lane, Ohio's trying to go and he's dropped the tombstone. There'll be a TP reaction from Io, ready to keep him alive and trying to turn. The double decay comes out.
Oh, that damage.
And they look for it. He gets the soul rip off, but it's not enough heals. Crit on a killing
they gotta kill the zombies. Oh, he gets
They
healed.
should have. I mean, this Io, 3 kills at the moment. He's been playing absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this guy's one of the best IOs in the entire world, so not too surprising to see him playing great. Great Observer Ward as well. This is going to help protect the Earthshaker a little bit more from rotations, but getting that kill was so massive. That was probably the most farmed hero on the map, and Undying, you don't rarely see it, but he can get out of control completely.
Mid lane as well, they're going to look for more. Crit and No-Tail moving in onto DJ. They'll get the damage down with a Fissure as well. Nice TP from Moon. It's a kill for No-Tail. And the 4th kill on the board for OG as they continue to dominate the lane.
It's another thing that Earthshaker can do amazing. Just TP in, land the fissure, and it gives you an extra couple 2 right clicks. So really useful there. And this is creating a lot of space for Huskar as well. The downside is that he's been in a tri lane all game. He's only level 4 right now, so he's actually super under leveled. He needs to hit 6 to be really strong. He's against a level 8 Undying, and this is just not safe. It's going to lower his max HP with Decay, and he can easily kill him when he pops his ultimate.
It certainly is scary for Miracle. And the fact that they're sending the Bristle back up top as well. They put Mushi mid to get some levels on the Bane, and they're maybe going to look to dive potentially. I mean, they certainly can with that level 8 Undying. As you said, they've got the tank ability to just run and go for it under the tower. But there is going to be reaction from OG. We can see backup coming in already, but it may be too late. Ohio's trying to go, drops the tombstone. It's just Fly and Miracle. They need help from their friends, and their friends are on their way. Fly gets the grave off onto himself, and there's your TP in from No-Tail. They get the Fissure, the avalanche onto Ohio. The toss is there as well. They bring down Crit now, dominating on this IO, and they may even try and find more. OG going to see if they can catch this. They haven't got a Fissure for 6 seconds.
Toss Moon, it's the only way. Nope.
They're not going to go for it. But still, once again, OG reacting very nicely to what Fnatic are throwing at them.
Yeah, they're doing a great job there. lots of TP reactions if they're losing their safe lane or their off lane. Then he just has to show up in a couple kills, and now he's sitting just fine. Level 8, 400 gold on the way. They've even got an armlet now in Miracle. He's getting some experience in gold from those rotations that other people are partaking in. So maybe he'll buy boots someday, but until then, he's got a lot of damage.
And they keep sending heroes up here. They're going to send a higher back up here with DJ. They really want to try and make something happen. But Miracle's still with the backing of both Crit and Fly on this lane. It's going to be a hard one to go for, and we've already seen how on top OG are with the TPs if a dive does come into hand from Fnatic.
But with Undyne and Bristleback, they're actually quite strong. They'll have a lot of reflect, a lot of physical damage. They can lower the HP of Huskar, even though he does do some magic. And the Tombstone Zombies as well are creating a lot of space. So only with 2 heroes here, they're actually preventing Huskar from farming while the rest of their heroes can potentially get last hits. So if they can balance this decently and not have to lose any kills on the top lane, this will be really good for Fnatic.
At the same time, though, it's giving a lot of space to Notel on the Tiny. He's top of the CS board at the moment, so he's finding pretty much perfect farm now on this mid lane.
And he opted for the pretty typical build that you go with Io, which is Treads. Just increases attack speed and his HP. So they continue to try to spam out DJ, but there's not really that much they can do to keep him back. Pretty standard skill build on him. No ancient stacks, unfortunately, so he can't fall back on that. But
this is nice as well from Fnatic. As soon as they get 6, they've got 6 on black. He's ready with the cooldown, and Mushi's there as well. They're going to look for some action on top. We saw OG deal with it before, but are they going to be able to deal with 4 heroes wrapping around? And here we go. Ohio coming in with a flesh golem, the tombstone as well. There's your TP.
Oh, he's dead.
But Dazzle gets blown up already, and they need him to keep Miracle alive. Miracle's going to jump forward. Looking for black. How good's his armlet talking? He's got it on at the moment. We'll take it off. Mushi gets the right click. He didn't struggle in time. Echo Samuel to Mushi. They're looking for the recovery kills, and they do find 2. It's a 2 for 2 at the moment. Notel and Crit trying to chase down DJ, but there's a lot of cross. Without chucking Crit. Crit lands on the head of DJ. They will find it. The avalanche coming out to net. Notel playing on the edge of his life. They get the tether slow out. Fisher's there as well. They'll move it on the Wyvern. The sound comes through there with the Enchanto. It's a double kill for Moon, and he's not down. He's looking for more. Chasing Ohio here. Howling into this other Fisher. Get the toss. It goes through. Crit's there. There'll be a soul rip, but there's no one around to heal him. They got a Fisher.
There
we
got
go.
him.
Triple kill for Moon as he gets the Fisher through.
This
and
IO, oh my god.
OG. They're just working together absolutely immaculately.
Yeah, they completely communicated everything they needed to do. IO uses his ultimate to go back to heal. He's like, I just got like 3 levels all of a sudden out all these kills. He didn't panic once. Every time he got low, he said, I've got a full stick. Let's wait to bait them in. And then they did everything perfectly. The toss back, I don't know how you do damage with the ball of light, but really nice plays there by Crit and the rest of his team.
You can see absolutely why OG went for this first up in the draft. Straight up Tiny Io. If you leave it open, they're going to take it. And now Notel's got his drums done as well, so he's going to be even more ready for the fights. You know, if he wasn't already. He's top of the net worth, 4.3k. And the fact that they've had these fights, yes, Miracle didn't get perfect farm, great XP earlier on, but he's totally closed that gap now, and he's heading to the top.
Yeah, and this is a period of the game where a lot of single target damage really accelerates your farm. So he's going to be fine for a little bit. The only thing he's really going to need in the mid game is kills on heroes, basically, or Roshan kills. That's really the way that Huskar accelerates. So if Fnatic just plays more of a passive gank and farm game, then it's very likely the Huskar will get out farmed, but if OG can force fights, which they very likely can with an IO Tiny, then I think Huskar is going to be right at the top of the net worth.
I mean, just look at the Moon, the fact that that triple kill, of course, gave him a good cash influx. He's on 1,300 gold towards the Blink, so it's going to be a reasonable timing for this off-lane Shaker's Blink Dagger.
And he's level 9, a level that Earthshakers are not even close to at this point. Usually they're only sitting 6 or something, 7 maybe. So a lot of levels means more chain stuns, more single target damage, all that good stuff.
And I guess the question now for the Tiny, because he is running with the Sire composition, does he go for the Axe or does he need the Blink here?
I think it's a decent Blink game. Against heroes like Bane, for example, prevent the grip, just one-shot people. If there's basically heroes you can one-shot, you go for it.
He's got to fly away with his Arctic Bird. Miracle coming in with Crit. Net, can he get himself away from this? The ball's still flying from Moon's found him. Miracle's looking for more, jumping onto Black. Will force him back with the Burning Spears. Net, Cold embraces himself, only prolonging the inevitable, though, as I'm sure they'll find it. They'll move in to re-relocate, bringing them out, but Notel's already found the kill, and he's sticking around for more. DJ and Ohio are trying to move in. The Avalanche comes from Net, the Soul Rip, just keeping him alive in time. And Notel kind of lets us say Fly is still about here, and it looks like that's going to be enough to stop them from chasing him.
So Notel opts for buying a drum in the early game, actually. Just lots of HP, some movement speed for his allies, things like that.
Oh, Notel needs to be careful. DJ and Ohio once again trying to move forward, but as you said, this Tiny, he's fairly tanky at this point of the game.
He's actually so hard to kill. He's got a level 1 Craig exterior. Once he levels this up, anybody that attacks him has a chance to get stunned. And namely, that's going to be Bristleback. There's not a lot of good options to dealing with Tiny if he gets really tanky right now, not to mention the fact that he's backed up from an IO. It's going to be very difficult for Fnatic to deal with this now that he's 3-0-5, and the people backing him up have insane levels of farm as well. The only person on OG right now that isn't super far ahead is maybe Huskar, but I don't think he's worried about that at all right now.
Indeed, with the rest of his team doing as well as they are. I mean, you look at the side of Fnatic, what's the plan for them now? How do they kind of recover from this pretty bad game that's kicked off?
They picked up level 6 on Bane, so what they need to do is start getting kills with this, definitely. Maybe do a smoke, grab Mushi, Undying +1, go top, try to get a double kill. You'd have to gank crit the IO because he's able to teleport somebody's tethered with away from battle. But they can definitely get this done. It's just going to take a little bit of damage and some disable. They're going to put it mid, maybe? Nope. Avalanche catches them.
Okay, Vanguard's now picked up by DJ, but at the same time, there we have it. The Blink Dagger money is complete for Moon, and he's got the Blink. They're looking for DJ as well. The smoke up is there from OG. They're sending the full team down here onto DJ. He's pretty much the hero that's doing the most, and there we go. Straight in onto DJ. There's the jump forward. Fisher as well. In comes Crit with the balls, and they'll try and turn around a little bit. And there's a mega kill streak for Crit. Fnatic, can they turn? They get the Winter's Curse off onto Miracle. He's going to be able to live through it, though.
Oh, he's not dead.
He's actually keeping him alive. He'll finally go down. So it's a 1-for-1. No telly.
This is really good.
What's going to get? There's your echo slap from Moon.
Oh,
Well. They're all gonna die. Maybe OG.
Maybe not.
No. Miracle with the armlet toggle keeps himself alive.
They get him off.
It's a team wipe against Fnatic. There was a lot of collateral for OG, but Miracle, this time the armlet toggling is on point, and he stays alive along with Moon, who made some massive plays there.
Oh, that fight could have gone anyway. Like, initiating on DJ is great for Fnatic because every time that they do 250 damage or so, 230 now, it reflects the cool spray. It put everybody on OG down to like 40% HP or so. And then Fnatic TP supported, and even though Bristleback died before anything else happened, they were almost able to take a good fight. That was a great effort from them considering they're behind.
Indeed, but certainly the fact that it ended the way it did is not going to look too great in terms of the overall net worth difference between the two sides. Drums have now been picked up here by Black, so something else that Fnatic are going to have to offer when these skirmishes kick off, and maybe looking for something mid. Fly, Miracle, and Crit hanging about. You've also got Moon moving down the lane, and Miracle's going to feel confident to go forward. DJ will find himself a DD here, ready for the next battle.
They do deward the Ancients, at least, so they can stack those up for Black. Not that he has a Helm of the Dominator yet, but such a good attempt at a fight, and they need to win a convincing fight like that, because if a team with a Wisp is too far ahead, the game just basically ends, because it allows you to outplay all of your opponents due to the overpowered regen that you would get from those item advantages. So they need to put some pressure on their opponents, maybe get some kill setups, but it's so dangerous, because if they go in anywhere that the IO +1 isn't, then the IO +1 can just show up instantly, because there is a global teleport.
And I like this as well from Note. This is a classic Notel thing to do. He likes to go for something a little bit different. He's going to go for the straight-up Shadow Blade here. Tell me why you do that this game, Purge.
It allows him to get solo kills without needing allies. If they have two heroes that combo really well with Wisp and Tiny, or Wisp +1, then the other core needs to be able to get there by themselves. So Notel can basically farm aggressively, then he can show up to lanes, mysteriously pop out from invis, possibly one-shot somebody, and if they're a little too tanky, you bring in the IO as well, with the Huskar, for example. So this gives them a lot more offensive possibilities in terms of ganking.
And of course, if that Bristle does start to get out of control, Silver Edge is going to be very nice to have against him in the later portions of the game.
Are you talking about Bristleback?
Yes.
Yeah.
So take away the Bristleback passive.
Because you can remove his passive for like 3 seconds or whatever, and it's a strength item. It's not terrible on Tiny. It's usually not worth buying early, but definitely good sometimes. And it looks like OG is going to go for some more ganking. Blink Dagger is up on Earthshaker. He's got a Boots of Travel recipe as well. What the heck?
This man, Moon Meander. He's having an absolute game. He's second highest on the net worth. Look at his 7k value at the moment. He's higher than Notel's Tiny. He's going to be very happy with the way that this game's panned out. It looks like they won't find anything with the smoke, though. They did make a move towards the bottom. But Fnatic themselves playing a little bit more careful. You've got four of them grouped up towards the mid. Just Black was making motions towards the top, finding some solo farm.
I think they're just trying to read what Fnatic is doing. And frankly, I think this was the right smoke, because they should be looking for kills right now. But instead, they're all just kind of sitting mid and waiting for a fight to happen. And ultimately, this isn't going to gain them that much farm. But if OG was on the aggressive, then it would be a good play. But it ended up not being useful there. Tiny gets a kill on the bottom. OG does waste his smoke, but Moon might get caught.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice kill to get as well, seeing as how well he's doing so far. They'll jump in straight away with
That's
the
a
Winter's
grip.
Curse and the Fiend's Grip. Pretty much all the ults being dropped onto Moon there, and they will get the kill. That does end his mega kill streak. The money going to Mushi, though. But nonetheless, definitely a kill that Fnatic are going to be happy with.
Yeah, and one of the downsides of the high levels on Earthshaker is he's dead for 45 seconds. At this stage in the game, that's crazy. Are they going to fight this? They're thinking about it.
He's trying to move in here with the
Wants the
Invis,
one
and,
shot.
There we go. Avalanche toss onto Ohio, and he just disappears. Miracle's jumping forward looking for more, trying to find Black. Black will get the cooldown off, but already 2 dead on the side of Fnatic. Mushi will hold No-Tail back there with the Nightmare. And looks like Fnatic now will just retreat. But again, losing 2 heroes there. And that was the fight where OG didn't have their 5th player.
It's a perfect example of Shadowblade does. I mean, if they see him approaching or they see him anticipating the blink, then maybe they can protect themselves, but boom, instantly he just gets killed. And that's the one-shot scare that Tiny always brings to the table. Is that one of your heroes might just die at the start and it only takes 1 hero resource to do it, and you're only on cooldown for 17 seconds. So Tiny is so threatening here, and he can also transition as a carry. Really strong in this position when he's not behind.
Indeed, OG going to be feeling very comfortable for the way this game is progressing. We're reaching up to about a 10k net worth lead overall between the sides. Mac now picked up here by the Undying. And of course, the Bristleback, I believe, was working on his Crimson Guard, which he has got complete. So they do have better tools now, Fnatic, than they did before to take these fights and maybe even try and turn them around. Mid lane, here we go. The Shadow Blade again from No-Tail, closing it onto Black. And he's going to go for the toss Avalanche. There'll be a Nightmare holding him in, but there's your relocate, bringing Miracle in. Jumps onto the Gyrocopter, and they're trying to get more. Looking to chase down Mushi. The Tombstone will be dropped here by Ohio. They're trying to take, but Miracle just takes down the Tombstone, and they're going to be ready to fight for more here. He's forcing Ohio back, heading up high, seeing if they can chase anyone. They found Net here. There's your Fisher trying to get themselves in a vision, and they'll get the Avalanche through. Jumps forward for Miracle. It's a dominating streak now for the Huskers. He picks up more kills yet under his belt. And Fnatic, they just don't have an answer for that when OG catch them off guard.
Yeah, and he's essentially more than caught up at this point. He's about to finish a Heaven's Halberd, an item we rarely see, but it gives him evasion, makes it hard for his opponents to hit him. And at this point, I just don't see Fnatic killing Huskar anymore. And they also have to worry about a Tiny, and they have to worry about an Earthshaker dunking them, and all these other issues.
It's very scary. Well, mid
They
lane,
grip here. They could kill him.
there's no relocate for 20 seconds. No-Tail may have got a little bit too cocky, and he's going to pay. They'll say, all right, thanks for that one.
Well,
That's a big kill.
That was a gimme. I mean, he was way too far up and completely by himself. So moderately big mistake from No-Tail, but they're so far ahead right now that the only thing they have to worry about is losing this tower as a result of that. They will pressure it. I'm not a huge fan of this Crimson Guard on Bristleback. Normally the SNY is the build, but he may build after. Fissure's going to block him on the opposite side.
I mean, the Crimson Guard is out, but as you said, it's not seeming to do too much in terms of keeping DJ alive. There will be a cooldown, but Miracle just walks back into it, turns his attention towards the Bristle. There'll be a Soul Rip.
Oh, the
There's your dunk onto 2. The Winter's Curse is there, but they've already lost DJ on the Bristleback. And now there's a buyback from No-Tail. He's looking to join the fight. Tosses in Fly. Double kill for Miracle. And the rest of Fnatic just getting themselves the hell out. Ohio looks for a TP, will be successful. But again, another fight where Fnatic just can't stop or slow down OG.
The Huskar just dives on Gyro and Gyro's dead. It's that simple. Like, the only way that Gyro could survive this is if he has Magic Immunity. It would, at the very least, stop the Burning Spears damage, but that's not what they need. They need to win team fights. They needed the Gyro to get ahead, and Gyro is sitting at almost half the network of Miracle. And Miracle was the hero that was gamed in the beginning. But Tiny, the Wisp, all the other supports, they created all the space. They allowed Miracle to catch up by getting kills. And now OG is looking in an absolutely unlosable position.
And this is going to be Roche easily said and done for the side of OG. No Fnatic in the neighborhood. Aegis now onto Miracle. I mean, we've already seen how confident he's been just jumping into these fights. He's only died once at the start where he had that unfortunate armlet toggling incident, but since then, 6 kills, 6 assists. This man is nigh on unstoppable.
So they will most likely group and go for some more tier 2 towers. They don't have to try to go down one lane and force it yet, but I think they'd feel pretty confident to do that as well, especially with the support items they're sitting on. They've got a Glimmer Cape, a Medallion. Dazzle can grave people. They can heal whoever takes damage with Io, reduce damage he takes with Overcharge. They have so many good solutions to dangerous situations.
Fnatic themselves, they're going to look to try and take the top tier 1. But it looks like OG will say, all right, we'll look for the favorable trade. We'll just go down the mid, try and take a tier 2. They've even got a fortification here, so it's going to waste a bit of time at Fnatic's. And And it looks like, I don't think they're getting back in time to save this tower here because the damage from OG, pretty reasonable there. We'll TP back. Are they going to try and fight here by the tier 2?
Well, they're just protecting themselves if they do get a little out of position, and I really like them taking a tier 1, though. They anticipated OG pushing because they had the Aegis. They said, let's go take a tier 1. They're not going back for this. So they grab gold when they can. I really don't think they can fight here, unless OG overdives. That's the only way.
No doubt.
He wants to overdive.
He really wants to go. I mean, now that Ogre Club, is that going to be the Aghanims, or is he just going to get a BKB for the fighting here?
If he wants to be ultra safe, he would buy a BKB, but I really think he'd get away with a BKB at this point. He's already got tons of stat items. They don't have that much damage on their team. He could definitely justify just getting a ridiculous amount of HP and being able to clear jungle camps by himself.
DJ needs to be careful there. Miracle's just going to sit there, go for the tower, and again, Fnatic, they can't really make a jump on this. It's far too risky, especially with N0tail just hiding in the sidelines with that Shadow Blade ready to walk in and get the combo off if anyone comes to defend it. And that's going to be another tier 2 down.
They even had a regen there. There was no dying for Miracle here. They will probably go high ground with this. We have some drawing on the map. It looks like Fly actually wants to play it safe, which when you're on a best of 1 and you know that you're better than the loser bracket, and they were very close to being in winner bracket, then they want to play this safe. Them going out here would be a huge upset.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I've taken away from watching OG many times is they're a very sensible team. They very rarely throw games. I can't remember the last time I've seen them get a lead. They might kind of slow down the pace, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see OG wait a little bit before trying to break the high ground. They'll almost certainly trying to get the tier 2 first, but they just play it as safe as possible. And
oh, they're going to run into each other.
Time. Okay, Miracle. He needs to be, does
safe?
Still have the Aegis. There'll be a Phoenix group coming out here. He's going to be ready for round 2, and there we go. Crit moving in.
Oh, he got stunned.
And it doesn't matter. The heals are too much. Miracle's going to live. There'll be a nightmare trying to hold back the Huskar, but he gets taken off. He jumps in straight onto Black. Miracle's shallow graved up as well. Black will be able to get himself out there with the invisible Glimmer Clay.
He's in
no
trouble.
wants to die so far. DJ's trying to move in onto Fly, but N0tail tosses him back. Miracle now being supported by Crip. DJ looking for the Eye, but he can't quite find it. Moon will take down the Wyvern. Now they turn their attention towards DJ, leaping forward there on the Huskar. There's the toss from Tiny. Wicked sick for Miracle.
How is this guy still alive? I mean, Crit tried to relocate him out.
He didn't even lose the Aegis.
He must have got hit by the Winter's Curse as he tethered through or something. And when you interrupt your stun on relocate, it cancels it. So it looked like he was going to die, at least lose his Aegis, but he just tanked all the damage. Fnatic just simply doesn't have enough.
It's just the trifactor of the IO, the Dazzle, and the Huskar. He just does not die. And especially at this point where he's 14,000 net worth, 6k ahead of the highest of Fnatic. I mean, you just got to ask, what is the plan here for Fnatic?
Oh, Tiny might be in trouble, slightly out of position. It's getting low. They do have a tombstone up, but they have to kill the IO first, or they have to kill the Dazzle first. They're going, offensive force that.
Miracle just jumps onto Ohio.
Oh,
There's a slap from Moon onto 2. There is a cold embrace keeping Ohio alive here. The cooldown as well. Moon's in a lot of trouble. The shallow grave comes out. And just in time from Fly, Moon will be able to keep himself alive. They did lose the IO in this. Maybe this is time for Fnatic to go. See if they can clean up some more. DJ's trying to find Moon who's still fairly low, but Miracle, he's just jumping in, looking for Glap. The Glimmer Cape is there. He's toggling it up. Again, Crit's brought back and come into the fight. Relocates in to keep Miracle alive so they can continue the aggression here. There'll be Nasal Goo coming out onto Miracle. They're going to be fine. It did cost a buyback from Crit, but he keeps his team alive, takes the Huskar back to base, and he's going to be tip-top shape.
All right, so Fnatic defends, but they are still so far behind. There was a buyback from the IO in that fight, so not that much loss for Fnatic, but considering they haven't been farming much this whole time, and the Gyro is about half of the net worth behind Huskar, and he's not even good at killing Huskar in the first place, it is looking absolutely dire for Fnatic here. Sanjin Yasha on the way for Gyrocopter. That'll give him some mobility, but it's not going to allow him to kite the Huskar. The Crimson Guard's helping a lot against Huskar, is really limiting his damage, but those Burning Spears still add up heavily.
And some big items coming out. The fact that the Huskar, I think he's just a few hundred gold away from finishing off an AC. Big Daddy, of course, on the Tiny, Mr. N0tail. He's pretty much got that BKB done as well. So the fights are just looking to get harder and harder for Fnatic.
It's definitely not easier, that's for sure. And like you said, with the BKB, he's just so safe now. He can do all these crazy things that he was doing before with even less chance of losing. When you have this much gold advantage, you don't even have to really build damage anymore. You just have to get more HP than your opponents because you know that you're going to outlast the meager damage they're outputting. It is a BKB. It's a BKB on Gyrocopter, actually. No Sanjin Yasha. So that gives him some protection against Huskar. He doesn't have to worry as much about getting one-shot by Tiny, but you're still looking for like a miracle team fight here on Fnatic for them to be able to take OG. They can still do it. They're defending well high ground, but they need to get the perfect circumstances. And I'm talking like Winter Wyvern ult into huge decays and soul rips and AoE damage. It's the only way they're going to win this game.
As we can see a smoke up from OG. Let's see if they're able to find anything here. Looks like they're probably just going to make the move towards the top. Moon's going to maybe bait mid. They're hanging around the Ancients. But understandably, Fnatic playing very, very carefully, keeping themselves in the base. They're not going to be coming out. And OG will just try and move towards the top, get the creep momentum working around it, and try and take away that final tier 2 here by the looks of it from Fnatic.
I think it's safer to play this way. I mean, it's clear Fnatic doesn't want to leave their base, but with the same vein, they're just not getting farmed by being in there. So if OG continues to delay this, they get an item on top of an item on top of an item, and then it get to the point where basically Huskar plus IO could kill everybody on Fnatic. So it also causes them some frustration as well. Not a bad thing to aim for. More likely to make a mistake. Do they have a gem yet, though? That's the real question. I don't see a gem yet on OG. I think that's
just the sentries.
maybe the only mistake they're making.
Oh, well, look how far Fnatic are coming out here in this mid lane.
Oh, Ned has to be careful. He get trapped on the wrong side.
Oh, dear.
Oh?
Oh, dear.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Just feeling him out.
I think he's still in a lot of trouble, Purge. Oh!
That guy's
There was
dead.
a Wyvern there. At the same time, they do find a kill onto Dazzle.
I just see
Support
blood on the
for
ground.
Support.
Radiant's top tower.
Wait, where did Dazzle die? Oh, over by the top right.
Yeah, they
Okay.
used the Fiend's Grip on him, so
Okay.
that is down.
Not the hero they wanted. They would have loved to grab maybe Tiny or Shaker, but Dazzle's not really the best. It'll probably still hold the OG back for a bit. They're not going to be too upset about that. 400 gold for that Dazzle kill, by the way, even though he has no items. It's just because their team is so far ahead. Almost 20,000 gold ahead. They have like 50% more gold than their opponents.
Oh, no tell. He's going to find DJ. DJ, he's in a lot of trouble here. There's your Avalanche. Here's the backup from the rest of the side. He will get off the Crimson Guard, but what does it matter? He just gets destroyed by Miracle. Now on a godlike streak on this Huskar. And, oh man.
The Bristol's working pretty good at doing damage to IO, but they're just too far behind at this point. For that to actually be like a real threat, they'd have to have a full team fight and full cool reflection for IO to actually go down low.
No tell. He's just fine on his own here. He just walks in, takes the kill, walks off.
That's the Shadow Blade. And not only are they afraid of those heroes showing up, but they also have to put sentries down in normal places where they would be safe. They can't just protect themselves with Observer Wards. So it double compounds the effect that they're behind. Something that the Shadow Blade does that a Blink Dagger would not be able to do.
What are they waiting on next, OG, is a big item pickup. They just picked up the Lotus Orb on the Shaker. Got 2.1k here on the Huskar. And it's going to be the Solar Crest now finished up on Dazzle as well. So, I mean, if your claws weren't going to die before, they're certainly not going to die now.
Yeah, I would like to see maybe another strength item on the Huskar, maybe a Black King bar. He could either go Satanic, which is going to give you about half the HP of a heart, or he could pick up a heart itself, that'd give him 1,000 HP. And at that point, he's pretty genuinely unkillable. Either of those options would be great, or he can just save buybacks and things like that. Or he can just grab an Aegis, then he has to die twice. Well, more like 5 times with a Dazzle and an IO.
And here we have it going for Roche, Fnatic. Not in any position or shape at all to contest this.
It's Miracle and Moon on the camera there.
Very
They're
focused.
looking, they're confident.
A little bit of a smile there. We got this, lads. He's happy.
It's looking good. There's the smoke from Fnatic. I mean, they're not going to de-ward with. Okay, they will de-ward with this. That reveals Ned.
Lots of pings coming out, OG. Realizing the situation straight away.
Guess they're hoping to maybe catch somebody up there, and if they didn't, they would immediately de-ward and retreat. It's a pretty... I feel like it's... I guess it's an okay shot, because they need to basically find one hero. They knew they were by Roche, so they might have found one hero there. while dewarding. Decent shot, because they don't want to just take a 5v5 smoke. They're so far behind they can't do that. They have to do a high ground smoke, or a high ground fight. Like what they're about to defend against.
Here we go. They're trying to throw stuff at Miracle, but Miracle really doesn't care. He's just going to walk it off, turn around. And the fact, I mean, just little things like the fact that they've got the Vlads now onto Crit Sire. That's going to help them so much with these fights, OG.
Huskar's damage is really weak here. But he's so evasive. It's got minus 90 damage from the Enfeeble.
Oh,
but
some goo getting sent back the way of DJ.
it's raid boss time. That's what we're looking at. Reflect spells, 50 armor. It's got at least 50% evasion here. Somewhere around there.
He just sits there, hits the tower. Not a care in the world here, Miracle.
Radiant's middle tower is
Oh, the missile reflection.
Here we go, return fire. Onto Black.
Will they fight with this? Okay. That was leveled up too. That was a good reflection.
Okay, fish onto high.
the offensive
he
force.
gets shoved in. Now drop down the weave. No Tail ready to start the fight. Crimson Guard has come out here. No Tail's actually popped the BKB. There'll be a Winter's Curse, but there's no one around him. It just doesn't matter. And now Miracle, he's just taking down the Tombstone first, getting his priorities. Black's trying to move in with the BKB, with the cooldown. Miracle getting fairly low, but there's still crit on the sidelines, and there's still Fly there with the grade. Miracle's going to be fine. DJ is managing to stack up the Quill Sprays on the side of OG, but they just toss Miracle out. They get him out of there.
The buddy
And No
toss,
Tail
man.
just keeping his old team safe.
Radiant's top
A
tower.
bit of a whiffed initiation for both teams, really. I mean, Tiny went in, tried to catch somebody, didn't get anybody. Fisher's gonna come. Could have reflected that missile.
Come on.
Yeah, come on. There's the
He's got a
Satanic.
Satanic.
Now he
he's got
can
a
heal
Satanic.
so fast.
All right.
Good reflection.
Return Goo. And that's a Wyvern dying up to the north. And just casually getting destroyed by No Tail
They
with the
could go on him a
combo.
little bit here.
He's getting fairly low.
But he's got so many ways to heal up. This is so dangerous.
And this has got to be pretty soul crushing.
Radiant's
Oh, they're throwing back. This is the fight.
Okay, DJ is he's
just
remixed
left
his
him.
last. He's gone. He's down for a minute, and they'll just turn for the second set of Raxi down bottom. Fnatic, 50 seconds without this bristle.
attack.
They left him behind, man. That was their hero.
Radiant's bottom
And Black with a cooldown, but it's probably going to turn into a cool GG at this point of the game.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty likely. They do pop the glyph. They just gotta wait for
They need a
Winter
miracle.
Wyvern.
The problem is he's on the other team.
the
There we
grip.
go. Fiend Strip onto No Tail, but he gets shoved back. He's going to be fine. There's return fire going back to Black with a missile, and Miracle just jumps forward. There'll be a nightmare. There's Moon with the Echo Slam onto 2. Ohio has been caught and braced up, but No Tail's moving in with the punches. There's the toss. Tosses the zombie onto his own dad. The murder. The humanity from No Tail. It's just too much for Fnatic, and they're going to lose the bottom racks here. Oh, man.
2 racks advantage and no signs of breaking in the slightest.
And they'll just casually walk up top, and
Yeah,
that's your
there's
GG. OG
nothing they
have
can
done
do
it.
to stop the Huskar there.
There we have it. If No Tail's the flower, OG's the whole garden,
under attack. Dire.
and they'll take the win. It was a Huskar game, and it was a Huskar game that they'll be very happy that they picked it in.
Yeah, I don't think the Huskar was necessarily the main reason they won.
absolutely
It
not.
was
The
really
whole team.
the whole team created a massive amount of space, and it really allowed Miracle to get ahead and just absolutely end that out with great support play. Awesome play from everybody on OG there.
Yeah, they're going to feel very happy with that. Of course, once again, commiserations to Fnatic. They are now out of the tournament. They will go home, but OG, they move forward to the next best challenge. They will be now in best of 3s. They've got past that first hurdle. The best of 1s is never the nice place to be, but when you're able to find a game with a Huskar pick, get your tiny eye, they felt very comfortable with the drafts, and it was apparent throughout the whole performance.
Yeah, it was. So,
Absolutely bang on. Well, with that, we'll head over to the panel to see what they've got to say about the team play of OG.